All right, yesterday we learned about bar graphs and double bar graphs, and now today we're going to be learning about line graphs. I need everybody on page 109, example 3 on page 109. Okay, and they give us a hot air balloon example. All right, so let's read it together. It says the line graph shows the number of entries in the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta from 1995 to 2000. What conclusions can you make about the graph? All right, now, the first thing you need to know is that line graphs can give you our information on how data changes over time. So if on a quiz or a test I ask you which graph shows changes over time, you would say a line graph because that's what line graphs are used for. Now, in the hot air balloon example, all I'm doing is I'm just looking at how these entries increase or decrease over time. Now, overall, did the entries increase or decrease? Increase. Okay, so my conclusion can be overall, from 1995 to 2000, the entries increased by about how much?
5 years.
No, by about how much? The quantity. The quantity. They went from, in 1995, it was about how many entries?
300.
No. In 1995, look at the point. It's about how many? About 690, about 700. Okay, so we can just kind of round it, about 700, give or take. In 2000, how many entries were there? About how many in 2000? About 1,000. Okay, about 1,000. So the difference is about 300. By about 300. Now, we can take this a step further, and we could say, well, what would be the cause for the increase? What do you think could be some of the reasons why about 300 more people participated 5 years later? What do you think? What could be a reason? Justin?
Because the news spread more.
Okay, so they did better advertising. They maybe advertised in the news or posters. What could be another reason for the increase? Anybody else have any ideas? Zach? Okay, more people are brave enough to ride in air balloons. That's a good point. Maybe more people moved there, so they have a greater population, therefore more people are going to the fiesta. So there could be a lot of different reasons for the increase, okay? So, and we can draw all of those conclusions just from looking at the graph. All right, so on your homework tonight, it's going to say make a conclusion about the data. We're looking for, is it an overall increase? Is it an overall decrease? Or is it random? That will be helpful for you as you answer your homework problems tonight. Now in example 4, we're making a line graph. Okay, in example 4, we're actually making a line graph. So let me come back over to my drawing, and I'll kind of take some of this down. All right, now we set up a line graph much the same way that we would set up a bar graph. So the first thing we want to do is label the categories. Now I'm on example 4 on page 110. Okay, so I'm right there under example 4. Now, the horizontal axis is still the category. All right, so whatever the category is, that's my horizontal axis. My vertical axis is still the quantity, how many. Now the subscribers here, we're counting in millions. All right, so that's something to take note of as well. Now we need to figure out how can we, what are the intervals going to be for this line graph? What do you think the intervals would need to be? We go from 24 all the way to 86. What do we want to increase it by? Anybody know? What do you think? Hazen? By tens? Tens would be okay. 15s, 20s. 20s would be a little bit of a stretch. But so if you did 20s, you would need a lot of space between each one. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and go by tens. All right, 10, 20, 30, 40, And then, yep, I had to add another line up there. Okay, and then don't forget to add in your grid lines. You need grid lines. Yep, it's online right now. Okay, here we go. All right, so now the categories.
I need to give some shout outs.
Okay, so now label the different categories. Those are the years. Okay, and now one difference with the line graph is that you need vertical lines too. Okay, you need vertical lines as well, and that'll help you plot your points exactly where they go. So go ahead and label your categories and draw your vertical grid lines. Notice that the vertical grid lines will match up with the year. So it needs to go all the way down and go right in the middle of wherever you labeled that year. Okay, so it needs to line up. All right, now comes the easy part, okay? In 1994, how many subscribers did the magazine have? In millions, but how many subscribers? How many? 24 million. So we plot the point right about midway between the 20 and the 30. In 1995, class, how many subscribers? 34 million. In 1996, how many subscribers? 44 million. What about 1997? 55. Do you see a pattern here? Should. Okay. In 98, we had about 69 million, and in 99, we had about 86 million. Now, we can, again, make conclusions about this data, saying, okay, gradually increased. What would be the cause for the increase? Maybe the magazine got more popular. Maybe more people just started turning 18 and being allowed to subscribe to this magazine. So who knows? Okay, there could be a lot of different reasons for the increase, but overall there was a pretty dramatic increase. Now, one thing with the line graph is that you don't just plot the points, you actually have to connect the lines. Okay, and you want straight lines connecting it. You don't want curvy lines going all over the place. Okay, you want nice straight lines connecting the dots. Nice straight lines connecting the dots. And if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 3.2.